Hello, everyone. I'm Kim Cordova, president of Local 7. I'm also the chief negotiator in these grocery negotiations. I want to walk through Kroger's offer, their so-called last, best, and final, and everything you need to know about it. So workers have had enough. One thing I want to say is that workers have made it clear that staffing is a critical issue they want resolved or addressed in these negotiations. Safety, two-tier discrimination, wages and benefits, of course. So everything you need to know about the last, best, and final offer, I'm going to be walking through. You'll see we actually have slides. I'm going to be reading off of the documents as well. So although the company calls this a last, best, and final offer, the company can always modify the offer in the future. In fact, every bargaining cycle, the company has provided multiple last, best, and finals. So they can't go backwards. You can't get less than what's on the table. They have to go forward. So they can't go backwards. That would be regressive bargaining. So the company's proposal on the table, it fails to address numerous key union proposals like meaningfully addressing the staffing crisis in our stores. Instead, the company is proposing only continuing to talk about it in a joint labor management meeting. There's no commitment with real contract language that we can enforce, that we can verify that they violated the agreement. There's nothing we can do to force them to increase staffing, make sure that there's enough bodies in your departments or enough hours to properly do your job and serve our customers. There's no proposal in the company's final alerting you about dangerous emergencies. There's no requirement for them to tell you if there's a dangerous emergency near your store. Instead, the company's only proposing to do the bare minimum. They'll only tell you if there's a dangerous emergency if law enforcement tells them to advise you. So, for example, we just had a unfortunate incident over at store 98 where somebody was killed in the parking lot. And workers inside the store were not properly notified what was going on. Something really bad happened in the parking lot. There was no protocol. The store wasn't locked down. And the company really isn't taking safety serious. And this is really important to our membership. And we know that these stores are becoming more and more dangerous to work in. Their proposal fails to add any additional safety investments like putting elite guards in our store or also addressing the extreme heat and cold that our members deal with, those that have to work outside, click list orders, courtesy clerks that have to go outside in extreme heat or cold or the temperature that are in our stores. Their proposal doesn't end the two-tier discrimination. There's nothing in their proposal that increases the number of paid holidays at time and a half for all the employees in the store, Sunday premiums, night premiums. There's a lot of two-tier discrimination in the contract. Their proposal doesn't address any of the things that are important to our members in terms of ending the two-tier discrimination. Benefit improvements so that your wages go further. There's no benefit improvements on your health and welfare or pension funds or sick pay. And so there's no proposals that they have in their so-called last, best, and final. There's also no language items that they added to protect your seniority and give you a faster path or more paths to attain full time. None of that is addressed in their last, best, and final. And there's no protections in their offer to protect you from automation and artificial intelligence and how that's impacting our industry and your jobs. And there's no protection in the event they try to merge again and potential store closures or the impact of any type of new merger. So let's go through the company's wage offer. The company is proposing to lock in discriminatory geographic wage rates it implemented during the term of the last agreement, including lower wage rates for our members who work on the Western Slope for City Market, lower wage rates in Southern Colorado and Northern Colorado as compared with Denver City. Their proposal offers higher wage rates for associates working in wealthier Metro Denver neighborhoods, meaning lower wage rates in underserved communities In some stores, as close as a mile apart, have different wage rates for the same work. That's something that's unacceptable to us. If you work for the same company, doing the same jobs under their same policies and standards, you shouldn't see a difference in your wage rate based on where you live in the state. Same profitable company, and they shouldn't discriminate against their employees. Many workers who would receive no wage increase at all. In fact, there's thousands getting 25 cents or less as an initial wage increase. Please don't forget that Kroger just gave $7.5 billion in stock buybacks to their rich friends on Wall Street and already rich corporate executives. They have money. They were willing to invest $24 billion to buy Albertsons, and now they're offering measly wage increases. There's smaller wage increases for our courtesy clerks who are just as important to not only our union, but to the company. I mean, they're responsible for the company's incredible success, just like everybody else in the store, and their wage increases are smaller. There's no path for workers at the journeyman rate to reach the higher grandfathered rate of pay, meaning workers who were just a few hours short of the necessary hours to secure grandfather status in our 2022 contract negotiations will remain permanently behind their coworkers. This also affects any department manager, assistant manager, and head clerk who steps down. They will not receive the new or the grandfathered rate of pay. So I'm going to go through a summary of the company's proposals here. So in their proposal number 2, and this has to do with them adding vendors who can do bargaining unit work. So this is work in the store where they can do all aspects of work. They want to include Boar's Head, which is a third-party subcontractor entity. And they also are promising, if you look down in bold where it says the note, that hours of bargaining unit members who currently work Boar's Head products as of January 5th should not be reduced as a result of the vendor assistance from Boar's Head. So first of all, how do we prove that? How do we prove that your hours are reduced or eliminated as a result of Boar's Head? We know how the company can manipulate their schedules and payroll. And second of all, the departments in the deli are already underscheduled. They're understaffed and underscheduled, so there's no commitment to add hours or add bodies. All they're going to do is have somebody else do your work. The company is trying to outsource your job. The union won this case in arbitration and against the company, and now not only is the company trying to undo that, it's trying to create a giant loophole where many jobs in our store could be given away to gig workers, third-party contractors, and anybody else except employees of the company. The company's promise not to reduce hours does nothing to add hours again in already understaffed delis. When these workers that are not employees of King Soopers or City Market are doing your job, there's no money coming in on their hours worked into our pension or our health plan. And this hurts our benefits. It hurts us to sustain affordable and quality health care, as well as making sure that our pension plans are fully funded. It's a really bad proposal. Under company proposal number 3, this has to do with how dues come out of your check. And the company in negotiations has said over and over that they believe this is their nuclear weapon against Local 7, that they want to be able to take away all of our leverage in negotiations by eliminating or limiting, your ability to strike and letting the company use their nuclear option against you. And it's to help them force you to accept a weaker contract. And the same thing like their other proposal regarding eliminating the 30-day notice for somebody to withdraw either from our ABC checkoff or for dues. This is just another way that the company wants to make it harder for the workers to stay union members and to pay their union dues. This is designed to weaken your power during any labor dispute. All right, so we're on company proposal number 5. If I skip a number, it's because they had modified or withdrew some of their proposals. So company proposal number 5 is still on the table. And this is really important. This is a total rewrite in our scheduling process and in seniority that the companies is proposing to end select a shift for all part-time workers. So their proposal would take away seniority-based scheduling for all non-management workers and these are part-time workers, by allowing the company to write full-time shifts after determining the availability of part-time workers, putting part-timers' preferences first and making the least desirable shifts available to the full-timers. It ensures that senior part-time employees trying to maximize their hours to get to 40 hours, to get to the most hours that they want to work, it'll make it harder for them to do because they only have to write a schedule based on your availability, which means they can have favorites in the store. There's not a path to maximize your hours. They're going to have complete control. It's a rewrite of our seniority. This means that part-timers would be forced to choose between getting shifts at the time they want by limiting their availability and not getting enough hours. Again, not allowing you to maximize your hours or to get the better shifts. The proposal is a guaranteed broken promise to any new hire as well. So what they said in negotiations is they have a whole bunch of college students that want to come and work for King Soopers, but they can't because of seniority and because of select a shift. So it's just a broken promise to any new hire. We all know that once you get hired, the company will say you have to be full flex and that you are going to be required to work the hours that the company gives you. And so it's not going to help with retention or recruitment. The people are going to know that it's going to be that Kroger, is a company that breaks their promises all the time, and especially around scheduling, we're going to have problems with that. And for those of you that are used to exercising your seniority and have the ability to select your shifts, you won't be able to under the company's proposal. So let's go to company proposal number 8. And this has to do with allowing the company to pick and choose which stores they can give pay increases to. So instead of bringing up all workers in the progression step or job classification, the company can pick and choose what stores within a bargaining unit they can raise wages in. So the reason we put this language in the contract is prior to the 2022 strike, right before negotiations, the company was selectively giving wage increases to certain stores, certain departments, certain workers, without applying wage increases across the board to everybody equally under the same contract, same wage, same progression, same job. And we put language in there to protect people that we're okay if they give you more money as long as they apply it to everybody. This new language allows them to pick and choose. And they're already doing that. I mean, they'll pick stores in the more affluent neighborhoods, the stores under the same contract. They want to apply, they don't want to raise wages in the middle of the contract. So we're going to have workers working for different stores for the same company making different wage rates. And this is something that we can't have. And this change hurts the ability for all workers to secure equal wage increases mid-contracts. Workers, again, in stores and underserved communities will make less money doing the same job for the same company. It's unacceptable. This proposal number 9 has to do with daily overtime. So they're proposing a new third tier of employee. It's again adding more discrimination, wage discrimination within our contracts. So for any new hire hired after January 5th, 2025, you would not receive, those workers will not be eligible for daily overtime pay unless they work over 8.5 hours. So that hurts all workers. Again, it's a new 2-tier proposal in their contract. We don't want that. We all know when 2-tier got in our contract in 2005, it's been 20 years. We've been trying to claw back all those benefits and make sure everything applies to everybody equally. We don't want to add any 2-tier into these agreements. And the other thing is that for the workers that were hired before January 5th, they're going to hold over the people that don't get overtime. And they're going to use them instead of offering daily overtime to you. And that's money out of your pocket as well. Daily overtime is something that not every worker in this state gets, but it's something that union members get under our grocery contracts. So we don't want that to happen. And if you work at least 8.5 hours per day, this is more than a $2,000 pay cut a year for you. So we're not interested in concessions. The company's doing quite well. There's no reason to go backwards again. We're only interested in going forward. So company proposal number 12, and this is about full-time. So they're trying to make it harder for a part-time worker to attain full-time status. So under our current agreement, there's multiple paths for you to get full-time. We've had multiple look-back periods, which force the company to promote full-time part-timers into full-time positions if they work 2,080 hours in the 12 months. There's a look-back period. They look back 12 months every year. And we've had thousands of workers in the last three bargaining cycles now, and we had them promoted under that process. That look back period is not in the company's proposal. And what they are trying to change, and this is a significant concession for you, is currently if somebody works 4 consecutive weeks at 40 hours, and nobody's offered any reason like workers' comp, illness, or vacation, such instances like that, or circumstances, then they have to, it triggers a full-time opening. They want to change that to require a part-timer to work 16 weeks at 40 hours before you get full-time. So not only is that a problem for people that are part-timers and they're trying to get promoted to full-time, but if you're a department head, an assistant, or a lead, and you're stepping down and you were not full-time before you step down, it's going to be almost impossible for you to attain full-time. We're not going backwards, we're going forwards. This is a horrible proposal. And now let's talk about this proposal regarding healthcare, and this is company proposal number 14. So under the company's proposal, they are not guaranteeing any new money coming into the contract, into the healthcare plan in year 2, year 3, or year 4 of the agreement. This is new contributions. And if you can see there's circles in their contract, we circled this. If you look under their agreement, you can look on their website, you can look at this document. But you'll see in 2025, they are proposing an increase of 5%, but they're proposing a four-year agreement. So for 2026, 2027, and 2028, they're proposing up to rates, but there's conditions that and concessions our members have to take in order to have any money put into the benefit plan. So the up to rates through 2028 they're determined by a few things. So one, the company has changed our it's that we have a reserve target. And so it's IBNR, which is incurred but not yet reported. It's how our we have reserve money in our health and welfare, and there's triggers in which the company can reduce benefits. So they want to spend down all of our assets until we spend our assets down to IBNR plus 1.4 months of reserves before they add any money. That's one of the conditions. So currently the health plan has IBNR plus 2.5 months of reserve as of October of 2024. So by setting the target of 1.4 months, the company's proposing to steal 17 million out of your health plan. A target of 1.4 months also means if anything goes wrong during the contract, benefit cuts are guaranteed. So part of the other sticking points in negotiations is both sides. The union has trustees on the benefit plans. We have 4 union trustees. King Soopers, so Kroger and Albertsons, they're also trustees. And we have actuaries. Each side have our own actuaries and consultants and fund legal counsel. We have our own side, and they have to meet, they confer. In most cases, they have to agree. And so they are using a different trend rate, a trend of how claims and costs are happening in our fund. And they're using a lower rate than the union trustees. And we have been on target and right in our projections over the last 15 years. And that's why you really haven't seen any increases or in your benefit costs or reductions in your benefit, because we work really hard on those trust funds. So even using the company's own projections, which they're showing trend, and we have it circled here, at 6.5% for each year of the agreement in 2025, 26, 27, and 28. For your prescription drugs, they're proposing a trend of 10%, as well as projecting our investment income at 3% each year. Our proposals are often it's material. But even using those, we don't agree with their trend. The method the company is proposing to use to calculate the possible future rate increases in years 2, 3, and 4 do not adequately account for likely trends according to our actuaries. So again, if there's not enough money because their method is wrong, then benefit cuts are guaranteed. Our trend numbers are actually better, more conservative, that add more protections in for our benefit plans, our members, our participants, to make sure that there's not benefit cuts midterm contract. So in company proposal number 14, this is still continued. The other thing is that they're saying that any increase in the employer contribution rate described in this article are contingent upon the trustees adopting the plan changes described elsewhere in the contract. So the above language means that unless the union accepts the healthcare cuts that follow, the company will put $0 extra into your health plan. If that happens, the company's own actuaries project that there will be a deficit of more than $41 million. $41 million. This shortfall will result in cuts to your benefits or increases in how much you pay for your benefits weekly. If you do not accept the benefit cuts, then you will have to accept even worse benefit cuts in the future. Let's talk about some of the benefit cuts. So if you do not accept the benefit cuts now, then you'll have to accept even worse benefit cuts during the term of the contract. And this is what those cuts could look like. So first of all, this is losing all of your ancillary benefits. This is you would no longer have dental, vision, life insurance, and a weekly disability benefit. That's the up to $400 you get if you're out on paid disability. But also we have a benefit called extension of benefits. And so even if you're off under the new FAMLI law or under unpaid FMLA, the company has to at least cover 90 days if you qualify for those leaves. So 90 days of your insurance, so 12 weeks. But under our plan, we cover your benefits for 26 weeks. So for the weeks you wouldn't be covered, under the law, then you would have to pay COBRA. And it's very expensive for COBRA. It's well over $1,000 a month, and none of our members have that in savings. Very few do, and most people, you shouldn't have to do that. The company's doing quite well. Shouldn't have to take concessions, and especially midterm contract. So even outside of losing all of our ancillary benefits, we would still have to potentially increase our weekly co-premiums. So today, if it's just you, if you just cover yourself, your co-premium is $8.50. If we run out of money mid-contract based on the company's projections, it looks like we would have to increase your co-premiums to $73.50. If you cover yourself and your spouse, or yourself and a child, then moving your co-premiums from $17 a week to $82 a week. That's significant increase. If you cover yourself and your family, moving from $26 a week to $91 a week for your weekly co-premiums. And if you're covering your spouse, that doesn't include the $100 surcharge you have if your spouse is offered insurance through their employer. This is horrible for our members. It's catastrophic cuts, which makes your insurance unaffordable. Or the deductibles could be increased. So moving Plan A deductibles from $500, which is what it is today, to $4,000, meaning that you have to pay $4,000 until your co-insurance kicks in. On Plan B, moving from $600 to $4,100, and Plan C, moving from $700 to $4,200. Now, remember, we're doing these projections off of the company's numbers. Our numbers make these potential benefit reductions or benefit loss even greater because we're using a more realistic and conservative number to make sure that we're protected. And we believe, looking at trend, they're using a lower number, and our number makes more sense. Our numbers. So under the other benefit cuts, the company is proposing right now, just without even the slide I was showing, in their company's current proposal, they're proposing to increase the cost of your weekly co-premiums. This is before we see any benefit cuts. So moving single coverage to $9.50, moving it up to 19 cents if it's you're covering for an employee and a child, or employee and spouse, and moving it to $29 a week for employee, spouse, and children or family coverage. So they're already proposing concessions right now without even the benefit cuts that are expected to happen mid-contract. So the company wants you to pay more for your health care by increasing your weekly co-premiums. For a part-time worker electing family coverage under the company's current proposal, this equals to as much as a 15-cent per hour pay cut. And effective January 1, 2026, to implement a custom pharmacy network, the company is proposing to change the open network we have now where you can get your prescriptions filled. They want to propose that we narrow that network where you're forced to get your prescriptions at either a Kroger, Safeway, or Albertsons store. And we have a really big open network. You can go anywhere. You can go to Safeway, you can go to King's, you can go to Walgreens, Costco, Target, CVS, again, Walgreens. And so we want to make sure that, one, you're not forced to shop at the company store. If some of you that had your prescriptions filled at a King Superstores know, it was just a year or so ago that King Supers was not taking our insurance to fill prescriptions because Kroger, their parent company, was in a dispute, and they're still in a dispute today with Express Scripts. And Express Scripts was our prescription benefit manager. And remember, our healthcare plan doesn't just cover King Supers and City Market workers. It's also other workers, other union members at Safeway, at Denver Processing, Darling International, Zenith Administrators, UFCW. And so we had, in the case with Express Scripts, our members in parts of the state had to drive even as far as 60 miles to get their prescriptions filled. This is less convenient for you if King's doesn't have your drug or your prescription that you need filled. You won't be able to go somewhere else to get it filled unless it's one of the grocers. And this is not only a self-serving proposal because they're going to profit off of it, but they also have a lot of control in the benefit cost, which can drive down our assets and force benefit cuts midterm. And we believe that's Kroger's agenda. This is also an illegal proposal. And so the company, because it creates a conflict of interest and Kroger profits, this proposal makes the entire proposal, it's illegal. And there's another proposal I'll walk through it, which makes this an illegal proposal. I'll get to that here in a second. The other benefit cuts that the company's proposing right now in this final offer is they want to change your prescription formulary. Members have to really read the fine print of any negotiations. Unfortunately, we do see a lot of folks, they look at a wage increase and they don't look at the terms, the meat and potatoes of your contract. It's the gravy, it's what are we going to make an hour? And everything is economics, all of our contract, right? And especially on our benefit side. So the company's proposing effective January 1, 2026. They want to adopt the Optum Premium Formulary or its equivalent, should the plan's prescription benefit manager, that's what PBM means, if it changes in the future. So this means that the company is proposing an aggressive change to what drugs are actually covered and the cost of the drugs in our plan. And this would end health coverage for some prescription drugs, increasing your out-of-pocket costs. So some of the things we see on this is if you have a specialty drug or a drug that you might be able to get, a specific drug that maybe is a formulary, a brand, maybe even a generic, and it's not on the list, you might not be covered and you might have to pay 100% out of pocket with it. The other thing, you might have to go back, get new prescriptions to get the equivalent of that drug that was approved under the old plan, which costs you more money out of pocket to go and see the doctor. But let's just talk about insulin. If your brand of insulin is not on the new formulary, you're going to have to pay out of pocket if your doctor or you feel better with the kind of insulin you use today. And that's something that we have protected our members from, this aggressive formulary change. Again, it shifts the cost of healthcare onto the workers and takes that cost away from the employers. They also want to start doing more dependent audits. This is where they go and they do audits on who's eligible and who's seeking coverage or covered under our plan. And these are very expensive audits, and the Board of Trustees really only do those audits if they are, we do them from time to time, but not every year. It's very expensive, and when we see the company's agenda to drive down the assets in the plan, forcing us to, have to agree to this expensive audit, again, it helps move the benefit assets down, enforcing benefit cuts on the participants. They're proposing new two-tier discrimination. So new hires would not be eligible for the HRQ health assessment benefit you get. If you take the survey, it reduces the cost of your weekly co-premium, but new hires would not be eligible for that. And again, working for the same company, you shouldn't have two different level of benefits. Retirees benefits, this is a big deal for us. And for our retirees, so the company's proposing to take approximately $8 million out of the health plan from the retirees' health plan, and they would put that into the active plan. So they're robbing one plan to move it to the other. And this would put our retirees plan in major financial trouble. It threatens the health of our retirees. And it also means that in the next contract, we're going to need huge increases for healthcare, not in both the retirees and the active plan, because remember, they're not putting guaranteed money in. And this is going to put us in a bad position for anybody who's planning to stay here more than past the term of any new contract that would be agreed to, because we're going to be in a hole for the next contract and trying to negotiate more wage increases, or we're going to need more money in our benefit plans. It puts everybody at risk and it puts us in a bad position. But this proposal is unlawful. So the company cannot insist in a final offer to put any type of requirements or insist on benefit changes for the retiree plan in any final offer. The same that Local 7 would like more money to go into the retirees plan, we cannot strike over that issue. It is a permissive subject of bargaining. It's not a mandatory subject. And the company has this unlawful proposal in their final offer. It's illegal and it makes the contract, this last best and final offer, illegal. Company proposal number 15. You can see that they're proposing no changes, and that means that no change means big cuts on the horizon. Without more money in the pension plan, and the longer the contract is, means that the plan may not be fully funded by the end of the contract, and future benefit cuts are likely. It's been almost 10 years since we've had a pension benefit increase. And in that time, the real value of your pension benefit has fallen by over 30%. This is unacceptable. The company is making money and they need to fully fund those pensions, and it's time to get a benefit increase. We have company proposal number 16, and this deals with our members who work for City Market. The company wants to change very restrictive language that we have that does not allow courtesy clerks to operate a register in those City Market stores. So the company wants to have courtesy clerks, the lowest wage positions, do the work of checkers, decrease in the number of higher paid hours available. The proposal steals the hours from the checkers and robs the courtesy clerks the opportunity of higher wages for doing the same work. This also hurts our health plan and our pension benefits. Many of you may not know this, but the company does not pay health and welfare contributions on courtesy clerks until they've been there for 3 years. And also they do not pay into the pension plan on behalf of courtesy clerks for 5 years. Every other worker and every other classification, the company pays into the pension plan the day they start, so from hour 1, but they don't pay the same for courtesy clerks. So company proposal number 17, this is around the term of agreement. They're proposing a 4-year contract. And so the company is asking for this 4-year agreement to work in the weekers by limiting our power to strike with our partner unions across the West. We have common expiration dates. We're aligned with each other in our contracts. And all the risk of underfunded plans and inflation growing like it did during the last contract will fall on all of you. We cannot know what the future will bring, like record inflation, a global pandemic, the economy, and the longer the contract is, the more risk there is that the contract will not reflect the current times. It is always in the worker's favor to have a shorter contract. So cleanup, there's some cleanup language under the company's proposal number 20. And this is about the proposal where they're cleaning up language. This is around, the proposal is for the elimination of the full-time look back, which is cuts again to another path to achieve full-time. And again, full-time positions give you a guarantee of 40 hours. It gives you faster pension accruals, a richer health and welfare benefit, and provisions like the look back also decrease turnover and help with understaffing problems. When this is somebody's full-time job, they're more committed to the job. I think part-timers are as well. But this is somebody's main job. And unfortunately, when they're reducing these hours to less than 40, a lot of members are having to work 2 and 3 jobs, and we want to make these full-time career jobs. So this makes it really almost impossible to achieve full-time. Letters of understanding, they have a proposal called the favored settlement or favored employer proposal. And that means that this entire agreement is really written, their last best and final is written in invisible ink because it's contingent on what Safeway gets. And we are negotiating with our Safeway contracts across the state of Colorado. We have 1 unit we're bargaining for in Wyoming. We're bargaining for 67 contracts in the state. And you should know in any last best and final what your contract looks like. But under this current proposal and this offer, any term of the eventual contract is going to be dependent on what workers negotiate with your competitor and other companies, other grocers, and Safeway's one of them, making each term of this last best and final offer illusory. This means that the contract they offer you may not look like with the contract you end up with. The company gets to pick the cheaper option. So it would be really reckless and irresponsible for us to vote an offer that really can change depending on what the competitor gets. And so they put this in their proposal. It's under proposal number 21. Under company proposal, again, number 21, regarding the minimum wage, the retail version below, they have even a worse proposal on the meat contract because they're proposing different money. But this is that the company has proposed an even more concessionary version, I'm sorry, for the meat department. So right now, if the minimum wage moves up under the current contract, if any state or municipality, their minimum wage moves up, under the current agreement, it's 40 cents over minimum, and then any of the brackets move up 25 cents. So they're reducing that to only pay the minimum wage in our contracts, 25 cents and above. That's concessionary. On the meat side, they're only proposing 20 cents. Again, creating differences for workers working for the same company, but have different provisions in their contract. This letter was designed, our original letter of understanding that we had and we don't want to change, was designed to make sure that if the legal minimum wage went up and you got the benefit of the increase, the company's proposal weakens the language by decreasing the benefit of any raise in the minimum wage. And this can cut your wage by up to 75 cents per hour. So, you know, they're not happy that the minimum wages are moving up, but frankly, this company should be leading the industry and paying well above minimum wage, one of the largest employers in the state. So company proposal number 21, and this is about educational leave of absence. They want to change the current letter of understanding and allow the company to have student workers who only work 3 months a year keep their competitive seniority against workers who are in the store year round. And this really is a rewrite and circumvent the seniority. So somebody could get hired, they go to college, they work 1, 2, 3 months, they go back to school, they come back, they're going to keep their full seniority under this current letter, under this letter of understanding. Company proposal number 21, and this is regarding increasing deli managers and assistants. The company wants to base the number, it's increasing, I believe, or decreasing. The company wants to base the number of assistant deli managers on the level of on the basis or level of sales per week in the deli, and yet they've outright refused to share their sales data with the union during negotiations. This is another, we have an unfair labor practice filed over their refusal to provide information, not just so that we can cost and evaluate this proposal, but for staffing. We have multiple unfair labor practices charges against them with the National Labor Relations Board. So this is what I wanted to talk to you about and walk through the company proposals. So if you look, I know we've had, our reps have been asked, what did the union propose? Why hasn't the union made counter proposals to the company? And we have. And so we have over 80 proposals on the table. And these all are proposals that came from you. And so we do have a summary of our proposals on our website. You can get on our website at www.ufcw7.org. We have the summary, I'm sorry. And we actually have also posted a summary of our counter proposal on some of the economic items like pension, healthcare, and term of agreement. So we are proposing enough money not only to sustain our benefits without any future cuts, but also to increase benefits and also to fully fund our pension. And we want a shorter than 4-year contract. We would like all of our contracts in the state of Colorado to expire at the same time. So we're having a strike votes for all the stores and contracts that are either expired or due to expire along the Front Range for Denver, Parker, Broomfield, We have Colorado Springs and Pueblo in Boulder stores that will be voting. So please look on our website for your vote dates, meeting times, places. We hope everybody come. We'll be voting to ask for authorization for a strike over the company's unfair labor practices. But I did think it was very important for me to walk through the company's offer. I know that they're having one-on-one huddles. We have DMs out there. We have Joe Kelly calling you on the phone. You have to watch him on your fresh start, but they're not telling you about the impact of the proposals. They're only showing people a wage increase and trying to scare people into accepting an offer that's inadequate and unlawful. Um, and you deserve much more. They have to bargain with us over staffing. I know all the members are tired of being professional excuse makers and apologists on behalf of King Soopers and City Market for short staffing, wrong prices, not enough people to hang tags in the store, check out groceries. They haven't figured out how to schedule click list and pickup, and they're using everybody from all the departments. There's not time to train, to clean, to serve your customers, and it's very important that we get through that. But we also want a contract that helps you share in the company's incredible success. I mean, their wage increases are not adequate. To underfund our healthcare is unacceptable, and hurt our pension plans. Also, to have more two-tier discrimination in our contract. It's something that, your bargaining committee and I believe the members, are going to find unacceptable. The bargaining team certainly did. So stay strong, stay united. Don't let them throw you off. We're in a good position with incredible leverage. Our customers not happy with the grocers. They've been paying high prices, and workers and the customers have had to pay for this failed attempt to merge. And so, we're going to keep looking forward. We want contracts that reflect your value. And I'll see everybody at the strike vote meeting. So see you soon. Stay strong, stay united, stay focused. Thank you all for being a member of Local 7.